curious to see where it lands. I mean, there's
Uh,
so much more information to come out, though. So I don't know if they can manage it. I think the White House thinks they can manage this.
well, he's doubling and tripling down, which is amazing, and attacking his
Yeah,
base now. So,
for believing the things that he said not to believe before. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Trump Tourney Tracker on a Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. Olga and I were just talking about how fascinated we are about the Epstein saga that's unfolding and how MAGA is reacting to that saga. It is quite an incredible battle that's going on for the hearts and minds of the base. Olga, what's your take? Are you just fascinated by it?
since Iran, I have been glued to this mega. I mean, I have like so much work to do,
Mhm.
and I am glued to this mega fighting, because it started with Iran, and you saw his base, go crazy,
Mhm.
and then you started seeing parts of his base, peeling off. Then this Epstein thing happened, and now it's escalating. I mean, it is incredible watching what is happening to his base. And I never, ever, I mean, out of the 5 million things that Trump has done, I never thought that what could possibly penetrate would be a man who is coming back from the dead,
Yeah.
to basically break his movement. And it's incredible. Between that, his base and fighting, between you see all the Russian activity, both publicly and covertly through bots and trolls. I mean, I've never seen anything like it, and God bless, let them get their own medicine and eat each other up.
It is incredible development. I mean, really, no one could have predicted this, but in some ways, it was predictable. You know, when you know a lot about his history and you know about Jeffrey Epstein and Trump's relationship with each other, then you know it could have been seen that this is going to be such a huge issue, but certainly not in the way it's played out with Russia acting as the instigator in many ways of this.
And the thing is, you have a movement that's built on conspiracies. Like MAGA is literally like a copy of, the Russian propagandist,
Mm.
that spin conspiracies and propaganda all day long and disinformation. You have a movement that has latched onto it for a decade with, conspiracies about Pizzagate, Democrats drinking children's blood. I mean, the amount of conspiracies that they have pushed out revolving around children, and this is stemming from Russia,
Mhm.
because Russia is the one, when they annexed Crimea illegally. Before they launched that invasion, they put out, that Ukrainians had crucified a little boy.
Mhm.
Russia has always, always, always run their conspiracies on children.
Interesting.
And then when you saw, yeah, this is like one of their main things is children. And when you saw Pizzagate, this is why when I saw it, I was like percolate. I was like, oh, this is Russia's hand in this, because they are the ones who traffic in these conspiracies. And that's it. And you have a movement built on conspiracies, that it's the Dems who are trafficking kids and eating kids and drinking their blood. And now that you have all Republicans in every branch, and that they're withholding this, the base that had been indoctrinated to believe all these child conspiracies. In this case, with Epstein, it's not a conspiracy.
Mhm.
But, the what they spun around Epstein was that it was Democrats who were
Yeah.
involved, not
Yeah.
Republicans, Democrats. And now this is all coming to bite them in the ass, and, let them fight. But it's
Especially
just
because it appears like the president was involved. I mean, it's not just that he's not the defender of children that he promised he would be. It looks like he was involved in the actual abuse, and that is going to be untenable, I think, for the MAGA base. I mean, they believe strongly that he is defending children. If he's not defending children and he's abusing children instead, that is a fundamental immoral break that he has with them that I don't think is fixable. And the more he covers things up, the harder it is for anyone to believe that he's not hiding something, because why else cover things up? You know,
But
if you've
that
nothing
I
to
don't
hide.
think. I don't think that this is the part that really bothers him because there were plenty of stories that came out in 16 and 17 of Trump throwing parties in
Mm,
when he owned Plaza Hotel, Coke parties with underage girls
mm,
for wealthy men. People who came out during 2016 who said that I was trafficked by Epstein and Trump raped me under
mm.
filed lawsuits. They dismissed all of this. I think this is more of them being angry that he's dismissing them because he frankly basically called him the enemies today. And I'm waiting for him now to call Laura Loomer and Alex Jones and the rest of his MAGA propagandists enemies of the people and a threat to this country because he's really moving right along that way.
Well, he doesn't need them anymore, really. I mean, that's the other thing that's happening. It might be that he's secured enough of the political system that he doesn't need the support of MAGA anymore to really pass an election. I don't think that's true, but in reality, he can dismiss some of them. It's a fascinating story. We're going to be doing something tomorrow night on this, a special for everybody, Substack Live at, I think we said 7 p.m. tomorrow night, Eastern Time. We're going to be looking at the secret life of Jeffrey Epstein, especially how his relationships with the different intelligence agencies around the world developed. And I think it's going to be a fascinating hour of us merging our knowledge together. And I think it's going to be fascinating to see what we come up with. So everyone should join us tomorrow night at 7 p.m. On both our channels. And we look forward to that. The other big news today, of course, is, and we should say it's day 178 in case you're keeping count on where we are in the Trump administration. The other big news today is all around the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell. So Trump has shown House Republicans a draft letter to fire Powell, asking if he should send it, although he's claimed no immediate plans to do so. Trump has repeatedly attacked Powell for not slashing interest rates and ranted about fraud tied to a $2.5 billion Fed building renovation. This is a big deal. I mean, presidents don't normally go around this route of trying to get rid of the Fed chief. Their independence has always been guaranteed.
Well, I watched the Oval Office meeting, whoever he's meeting with from the Middle East. I missed that part.
I didn't see
But
that.
yeah, he was sitting at the Oval Office um, in a meeting, and I'm not sure who he was meeting with, either someone from UAE or I'm not sure. But he said he was like, I don't know who appointed this, Powell.
And he did, of course. So,
He's like, what a mistake.
oh my
And
gosh, it's
I
funny.
just sat there. I'm like, this is crazy. But to get to the bigger thing, the Supreme Court has basically sent him a sign like, you better not try this. He
Mm,
continues to go down this route. I do not see Powell lasting. I don't know today if the Bloomberg story and then CNBC and Associated Press and CNN and everybody confirmed the same reporting that he is planning to fire Powell. So he
right.
either fires him today or tomorrow, despite him saying at that Oval Office meeting that there's no plans to do so. To maybe even distract from what is happening with Epstein, or he lets him hang on for a little bit. I mean, this is not going away,
Mm.
and this just shows you the lawlessness of
Well,
him. I
some of the
mean,
sourcing is coming from his own Treasury Secretary, who says that they have plans underway to replace the Fed chief. So it's not just this letter that's coming out there. There's a Treasury Secretary saying the same similar things in the background. So maybe that's why they're reporting all of this. But
and then the White House, there were White House officials for the CNBC story, they anonymous, obviously,
mm,
and I'm not sure. I mean, I don't foresee Powell, especially after yesterday's report,
mm,
staying much longer. I'm
yeah,
not sure if today was a distraction to try to like move away from Epstein. And he, like I said, might fire him, which is only going to lend up end up in litigation.
mm,
But at the same time, he's so corrupt that he puts out these stories. I mean, I'm sure that there were plenty of market moves
mm,
between the time that the first stories from Bloomberg surfaced to the time when the market started correcting itself after he in the Oval Office said no, he has no plans to do this.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could be
For any number of reasons. Or could be just, as he often does, he floats these things to see how they react. He puts it out there, sees if he can get any traction on any of it. And if he does, then he moves forward. But, it's hard to tell because he's so unpredictable. But as you point out, it could be a market manipulation effort as well. We'll keep watching that story on both our networks. Let's move on to the second story in the Trump tyranny tracker today, which is all about Epstein again. This is metadata from the DOJ's so-called raw Epstein prison video. This is the video of the cameras showing supposedly his door or doors leading to his complex where he was housed, revealing nearly 3 minutes were removed just before the infamous missing minute. The FBI edited the footage using Adobe Premiere, stitched it together, 2 clips together, and they cut out nearly 2 minutes and 53 seconds from one segment, completely undermining claims the video was unaltered. Now, this is made worse by the fact that Pam Bondi went out there and said, it's only a minute that we took out and it happens every night. Meanwhile, it's not just a minute. It's 2 minutes and 53 more than a minute. So, this is not if something smells like a cover-up as much as this thing smells like a cover-up, this thing smells.
Yeah, and we had reported on it because it's Wired again, the same news source, who, by the way, does excellent reporting when it comes to tech and things,
Doge as well.
with Doge and but at first they reported that they assumed, suspected that it was stitched and altered, but that it was about a minute. Now the latest reporting is now that we are now at 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You have now Trump attacking his supporters for, wanting answers. You have him putting this whole Epstein thing on Comey, Brannon, Obama. I mean, it's the greatest hits, Russia hoax. And literally, he played his greatest hits in that tweet that he put out. Or
everything together. Yeah.
I mean, literally, it was just a decade of nonsense stitched together.
It's like a medley.
And attacking his supporters. And then you have actual real evidence, one, that they are not releasing information, and two, that they altered 3 minutes of a tape. 3 minutes. Why would someone alter the tape if everything is fine and kosher? It's not that there are any, underage girls to protect in this prison tape. So, I mean, clearly there is something going on. And, and at this point, he has his base so riled up that even if they release bits and pieces to try to feed them something and pacify, I think his base is like a drop smarter and will be like, okay, great. Where's the rest?
Why is this tape been hidden for so long? For 6 years, we've been told this tape does not exist. There's no other cameras. The rest of the cameras weren't functioning and nothing else was working. Suddenly, the DOJ comes out with this tape. Where did they get it from? And where has it been hiding for the last few years? And also on top of that, is it really showing what they say it's meant to be showing?
No,
it's unclear.
not.
It's unclear which door it's actually pointed at, and whether we're seeing anything that would have been relevant to the Epstein murder at the time. Or suicide. I mean, it's not making them look very good. It looks like a cover-up.
Yeah, and Julie Brown, who's been Miami Herald investigator or journalist, who's been on Epstein for 20 years now, because I mean she's covered him from his crimes in Florida. She said that this is not the door. His door doesn't even look like this. This was a different angle down the hall that had absolutely nothing to do with even the same wing of the prison. So I mean, it's not only that they're cutting moments out for whatever reason, and that's it. And I want to remind everyone, when he died, Bill Barr was in office at the time. He was the attorney general, and at the time he was running a cover-up for what happened, dismissed any questions. So again, this is all the making of Trump and his officials and Bill Barr. I mean, frankly, Bill Barr acted so guilty when he was discussing it and questioned on it on media. I thought, I was like, for sure, he's the one who went and killed him, because he was just acting so guilty as if something was there.
Well, he's the cover-up general. He's been referred to that in every administration he's been in, whether it's Iran-Contra or other affairs. He's always covering things up. It is interesting that you point out that, I'll just point out that Watergate also included some missing minutes on a tape. I think 18 missing minutes on a tape that ultimately did, Nixon in. So maybe these missing 2 minutes in the Epstein tape might do this president
Republic
in.
Republicans and their videotapes.
Yeah,
They
maybe
like to erase
maybe there's
information.
always a tape and there's always an editing of the tape. It seems like so that's really interesting. We'll keep on watching that and we'll have updates again tomorrow on our Epstein special. The third story on today's show is also another stunner. Trump is now pushing Texas Republicans to redraw congressional maps to add 5 new GOP friendly seats, aiming to secure House control in 2026. Trump stated there could be another 3 or 4 or 5 additional seats from other GOP-led states, calling it just a simple redrawing, because if you don't like the results you're seeing, just redraw the map. It's very Russian.
It is. I'm very Republican, and that's why
Mhm.
they work together so well. Um, yeah, we again reported on this that they were planning on redistricting and redrawing these maps. I don't know what happened to me today.
Oh,
This
it's okay.
Epstein thing, I can't even
It's
see.
it's too fascinating.
Um, but the reason I included it because again, this was a few days ago this story came out, and here Trump comes along with his big mouth and he's like, "We need just 5 seats. That's
Mhm.
all we need." And Texas, we're gonna redraw the maps and get our 5 seats and keep the House majority and nothing, no issues. And I mean, again, like here you have, Texas who was working with Department of Justice. I mean, frankly, I don't remember Steve working with a federal agency to marginalize voters
Mhm.
and to seize more power. But they were working on it. That was the initial story. And then here comes Trump yesterday, pretty much like when you call Raffensperger and said, I
Yeah,
just need X amount of votes plus one.
yeah,
I need
exactly.
to win this election. Find me this plus the one so I could win. And that's it.
It seems to
And
be
to,
the only thing he wants. I mean, it seems the only way he thinks he can win is by rigging the system. And that's what he's been trying to do over and over again. But it's, gerrymandering exists in every state. It certainly exists on both sides. But the Republicans are taking it to a whole new
they
level in the last few years. I mean, I think they just dropped one of the Democrat seats in the last election. So how they're going to add another 3, 4, or 5 for the Republicans in Texas is going to be very hard to see. But I guess they'll figure out a way.
And they have done this before, Republicans, but I mean, they're doing it mid censor. I mean, the
Mm,
next censor is supposed to be 2030, although they want to, wipe that one out and redo the censor now. But I mean, they're doing it in between censors. So this
mm,
is where it becomes unprecedented.
mm.
But again, Democrats can play the same game. California can add, say we need 10 seats. New York
Yeah.
can add a few seats, New Jersey, and we'll all play this game.
Yeah, so much for democracy.
Exactly.
The final story to me is quite stunning, and I think it's the final one. Maybe there's another one. But the Department of Homeland Security is issuing subpoenas without a judge's signature, pressuring landlords to hand over their tenant files, leases, IDs, rental applications, even roommate details. Legal experts say these subpoenas may not be enforceable and are being used to intimidate landlords into aiding mass deportations. But this is such an invasion of people's privacy to be gaining this kind of information about your housing conditions. Unbelievable that the DHS is
Um,
doing this.
Imagine, so you have now immigration officers. And again, I will say this until my last breath. Immigrants are the test case. So now
Mhm.
you have immigration officers testing it on immigrants to go to landlords with unsigned warrants from a judge, demanding information on their tenants and who lives there and how many people live there.
Mhm.
What the fuck?
Mhm.
I mean, someone wrote it. What the fuck is correct?
Mhm.
Because this is not America. This literally is FSB.
It's
This is what.
apartheid South Africa. It's worse than apartheid South Africa, honestly. This is the kind of information, in South Africa, they landed up with these morality laws where, you couldn't sleep with people of different races and all these genders, and you come into your homes and look at your sheets if you're having sex with somebody or not. I mean, this is sort of like where the end conclusion of all this data flowing into the government's hands is going to, land up being, because, they'll be using it for whatever purposes they need. And so it's incredibly invasive and just immorally wrong and not American. This is not how America runs.
No, we have private landlords who
Mm,
have the only responsibility they have is to pay their taxes to the government, and whatnot. That's it. They don't have the responsibility to go to, and answer questions to immigration officers or any other federal agents. And like I said, this is like FSB. FSB does this. They constantly harass landlords. We're one step away where FSB goes a step further is they actually will arrest a landlord. So if someone commits a crime and rented, unit 2B from this apartment, the landlord will get hauled away and jailed because his tenant committed this apartment. So we're one step away where, immigration officers will be arresting or, landlords for people who live in who they rent out to.
yeah.
That
And
thing is so un-American, so undemocratic, so insane, but we're seeing these, you know, like attacks at the core of what are of our freedoms.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't want
absolutely.
federal agents. If I'm not suspected of anything, federal agents should by no means,
They should know
be.
nothing about you. It's entirely your business what you do and who you live with and in your home. This is not their domain, and they shouldn't be invading people's privacy this way. And landlords, I hope, are going to say no. But of course, they could also be used to, if the feds have something against them, they could use that to access these files. This is the kind of, you know, despotic system we're entering into, where anything is legal if you can make it legal by threatening people or accusing them of certain things. So it's really a very dangerous state of affairs, as we keep saying. America's in a very alarming spot right now as it's entering this autocratic period. And people need to have their wits about them and push back wherever possible on every level.
Absolutely. And landlords have the power. They could tell them basically, go fuck off.
Mm,
Come back with a signed warrant or get out of here. And, and that's it. And frankly, landlords, if this continues, they should do a class action lawsuit because this is complete intimidation, harassment. And frankly, it's not the government's business
yeah.
unless there's a criminal that they have a signed warrant for that they need to access a property. This is allowed. If the FBI knows that there is, some criminal that they are there to arrest and need the assistance of the landlord, or either the keys or whatever it is to get in, that's a different story. In this case, this is just randomly walking around, again, targeting brown people,
Hmm.
and walking around and, oh, let me see who you're renting to.
Yeah.
What?
Just based on the color of their skin, really. There's no other justification for what they're doing. It's just unbelievable. Well, that is the Trump attorney tracker for today. I think there's no other stories, right? That's it. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition, and then I'll be back at 40 minutes from now. So with Dean Blundell and the Five Stack. Everyone should check out the Trump attorney tracker and Unmasking Russia, which was Olga's great Substacks. I'm sorry, I'm almost having a rough day today. And of
No,
course,
we can't talk. We
and
talk too
check,
much.
yesterday we had this 2 hour session, and I couldn't believe it lasted 2 hours of our authoritarianism 101. But it's such a great session. But it's fascinating to hear from everyone. But you sure do, you talk a lot after 5 hours of live stuff a day, and you get tired of talking a little bit. So my apologies for
I
stumbling
put
this.
a new link for next week, a new sign up link a little while ago. So for session 8, the link is up.
And everyone should really join these things. I learn so much every week just by having all this interaction with everybody and hearing your very, very good presentations. We're able to really identify what it is that's causing this authoritarian creep and what it looks like. It's easy to say, "Hey, autocracy's here," but when you can actually point to the things that are making autocracy happen and the moves that this government is making to make autocracy happen, it becomes much clearer also, unfortunately, how much danger we're in, but it also becomes much clearer that that's what's happening. So the Trump Tyranny Track and Unmasking Russia is a must follow for everybody who's interested in those things.
Narrative.org too.
Narrative.org, NARATIV.org, where we'll be doing the even more coverage of Jeffrey Epstein. And Olga and I have a special tomorrow night, which will be really fascinating as well. Thank you, everyone, for being here. You're all terrific. Thank you for your support. We really love you all. And we shall see you again tomorrow on the Trump Tyranny Tracker at 2 p.m. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, Olga.